Good evening. Welcome to this April 2020 online general meeting of the Central Mississippi Amateur Radio Association, the coronavirus special episode. We hope that everybody is safe and healthy in light of recent events in the world. I only have a few announcements for club business tonight before we get to the presentation on WSPR. First, starting next month, we have a new on-the-air net. This net will be a monthly safe place for new hams to learn about our great hobby, ask questions, and learn about interesting and practical amateur radio topics from more experienced hams, also known as Elmers. If you're new, this net's for you, so please join into a net where mistakes are welcome. If you're an experienced ham, come pass on your knowledge and maybe, just maybe, recover some of the early wonderment of radio. This net will happen monthly on the fourth Thursday of each month after the regular weekly net on the 147.345 repeater, which has a positive offset any 100 Hz tone. Next, the status of May's meeting is still undecided at the moment. It mainly depends on the state's shelter-in-place orders. Current projections have Mississippi continuing to deal with coronavirus efforts until the end of May. Once we get closer to May's meeting, a decision will be made and posted online. Now, that being said, even if we resume our public meetings, please use your own judgment and discretion on whether or not to attend based upon the current status of the coronavirus in our area. Next, don't forget to send photos of your shacks for Shack Night later in the year. A lot can be learned from seeing how others have put their shacks together or by hearing suggestions on your own setup. So, take those pics of your shack, mobile rig, emergency comms go box, or you with a handheld if that's all you got. Email them to centralmsara@gmail.com. Lastly, I'd like to remind everyone that there's a Monday through Saturday net at noon for local hams to check in on each other while we're sheltering in place. It's an informal net without a dedicated net control, so tune in on the 146.940 repeater with a 100 Hz tone every day except Sunday. Send out your call sign, share your COVID stories. If you need help, ask. If you can give help, offer, or simply join in for the fellowship. Again, this net is on the 146.940 repeater, 100 Hz tone at noon, Monday through Saturday. Okay, that's all the club business I have for tonight. So, without further ado, let's move into this month's presentation of WSPR Operation. Hi, I'm JD, K5HH, and this is the Central Mississippi Amateur Radio Association presentation of WSPR, Weak Signal Propagation Reporter. This is a transmission code with forward error correction, non-recursive convolutional code with a continuous phase, 4 FSK modulation with a 1.468 Hz tone separation, 6 Hz bandwidth, signal noise ratio, decibels, pseudo-random. Hey man, what? Sorry. If you came here expecting high science, you're going to be a bit disappointed. The only thing my extra license really taught me is how little I actually know. Let's start this again. This is a presentation on practical WSPR operation. WSPR was developed by Joe Taylor, K1JT. He's a Nobel Prize laureate who taught physics at Princeton University. He also developed the WSJT software, which surprisingly stands for Weak Signal Joe Taylor. This app, connected to a transceiver, decodes multiple digital signals, including the popular FT4 and FT8. By the way, all links to relevant information will be posted at the conclusion of this presentation. The WSJT software also decodes echo, which detects and measures your own signals bounced off the moon. Oh yeah, that's bucket list stuff there for sure, but I digress. WSPR, what is it? WSPR's main objective is to send and receive QRP and QRPP signals to test global propagation openings, mainly on HF bands. For those who don't know, QRP is low power operation, 10 watts or below single sideband, 5 watts or below using CW. QRPP is anything below 1 watt. Okay, fine. But what is it? Alright, WSPR is a digital mode that excels at operating below a signal-to-noise ratio of -34 decibels. It sends redundant code at very slow speeds on a very narrow bandwidth, 400 times narrower than SSB. It's a bit like whispering through the back of a fan and being heard on the other side. There's a guy, Bert Kruijswijk, I'm sure I butchered that, P1AB, a ham in the Netherlands and a very smart guy. Bert primarily operates on as little power as possible. In fact, he has written some great articles on some 1 milliwatt QSOs he's done. Let me say that again, 1 milliwatt. Anyway, he's done extensive studies on WSPR, and his study found that whisper operation on a transceiver pushing 200 milliwatts is equal to CW at 4 watts or single sideband at 80 watts. There is some conflicting information here, as on the SodaBeam's website regarding the WSPRLITE flexi, which I use and will talk more about later, say that 200 milliwatts is equivalent to pushing 1000 watts. Who's correct? I don't know, but Bert, P1AB, goes into great detail on the science he uses, but I use the WSPRLITE flexi. Interesting note. Because of the new 630 meter band's low bandwidth specs, stations playing in the 630 use Whisper quite a bit. So what is Whisper? It's essentially a beacon. It's not meant for communication. It's way too slow for that. It's only meant to report on your propagation. It sends 3 bits of info: call sign, 4-letter QTH, and the transmit power used. Thousands of other stations across the world are listening with receivers connected to computers on the internet. When they hear you, they will log your contact and post it immediately to the net. Fantastic! Amazing! Now, how do you use it? Let's get into that. At my home QTH, I've been having some problems. I can hear stations as far as both coasts, Canada, and some in South America. However, very few stations can hear me. Those that do hear me give me very weak signal reports. Here's my antenna. I know, it's not ideal, don't judge me. It's a weird hybrid of an inverted sloping V and a horizontal dipole. There's HOA restrictions I'm choosing not to fight, so this is what I got. In comes the WSPRLITE flexi. Now, you can download the WSJT software, configure the software, buy a radio to computer interface, make sure it's installed, configured, and working correctly, make sure the audio and RF levels are adjusted just right, and tie up a computer while running the Whisper, which could go for days. Or you can buy one of these, like I did, because I'm lazy. The WSPRLITE from SodaBeams in the UK. Caveat, I have no affiliation, I just like their products. Okay. Configure it in the free app by setting up your call sign, 4-letter maidenhead locator, the band you want to test, and the power. Again, SodaBeam states that sending at 200 milliwatts is the same as 1000 watts single sideband. The WSPRLITE will send automatically at the top of the minute. The repeat rate is how often it transmits. 100% would be every minute. To give other Whisper stations a chance, it's best to knock that down. I set it at a recommended 30%. Then you can set it to run for as many days as you like. Longest I've gone is 3 days. I get impatient. Once that's set, you've got the hardest part out of the way. First, I add power from the power supply to a power conditioner I built from a kit. This just cleans up any RF interference from the power supply, and it is not needed if you use a battery. Plug that into the WSPRLITE. Attach the antenna. Then, at exactly 2 seconds after the top of the minute, according to whisper.net, I hit the transmit button. In that first 90 seconds, I make sure the antenna is tuned properly. I'm using a ZM2 QRP tuner I built from a different kit. And that's it. It's running. After about an hour, check online and you should start seeing the reports. Using the WSPRLITE, it gives you an easy web URL that shows your specific list of reports by band. Here's an example. After transmitting on 80 meters, here's who saw me after 1 hour, 3 hours, 6, and 24. As you can see from my current configuration, not great. So, I reconfigured my antenna by raising the ends to roughly horizontal and, more importantly, above the roof of my house and all its insulation. I ran the test again, and this is what I saw. 1 hour, 3, 6, 24. Much better. I'm still not reaching out of the country, but that I think has a lot to do with conditions. When running this test on 40 meters, I reached Europe, Cape Verde, and the Azores. Not bad. So there you have it. WSPR is a fun way to accurately test global propagation windows open to your station. See how far you can get. You can check what times of day are best for that band, see which areas you hear best, compare bands, or compare antennas. You can either set up a digital station or buy a tool like the WSPRLITE. Well, that concludes this presentation. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to post them here or email me through centralmsara@gmail.com. Thank you for joining me tonight. Stay safe in the current global event and get on the air if you're stuck at home anyway. Let's play radio. This is JD, K5HH73, and I am clear.